Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Daily Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today, as he does every Wednesday, Dan Waz. Dan's the author of Good Gun, Bad Guy. He's got the Loaded Mic Show. And Dan, thanks for joining us again today, man.
Oh, Paul, no problem. It's always a pleasure.
The one news story I want to highlight today, this crossed my attention this morning, and San Diego has passed a city ordinance that bans ghost guns. And what they are terming ghost guns is any gun that does not have a serial number. Even a totally homemade, self-crafted gun, which has been legal forever by federal guidelines. You've always been able to make your own firearm. Now the city of San Diego says by city ordinance that's no longer legal. What's your take, Dan?
Well, Paul, you know me. You know I'm against serial numbers altogether. When our founding fathers, when they ratified the first 10 amendments in 1791, there were no serial numbers. There were no checks. There were no magazine capacity restrictions. There was none of that nonsense. This is really just a way to create gun registry, and we know that they don't really care about the bad guys getting guns because they know that the bad guys pay no attention to gun laws anyway. They steal guns, or they get them on the black market, or they, there's many ways, straw purchases, there's all sorts of ways that they get guns. So
absolutely,
the whole idea of the ghost guns is, first of all, the term. Let's start with the term. The term ghost guns is a term created to scare people, because what's scarier than ghosts? We watch horror movies because we're scared. We like to be scared, and they understand this. So anything that they can create a scary name for, assault weapon, gun violence, weapons of war, wild west, all this stuff. Ghost guns is just another term, and what that term does is it scares people into thinking that there's these guns out there that are much more dangerous and much more scarier than other guns. They're called ghost guns, and it's supposed to be the most terrible thing. Well, the idea is to scare people with the term and also help them believe that serial numbers should be a normal thing. This is the problem with our society now. People actually think that guns should be serial numbered and should be registered. This goes against everything the Second Amendment was originally written for. Yet, create the term ghost guns and teach people that this is abnormal to not have serial numbers, and they will follow along because people are stupid. They don't pay attention to this stuff. They don't understand why the Second Amendment is there. They don't understand what it means, and they think that serial numbers should be on guns so guns can be traced. This is a gun registry. Go ahead.
If you own a gun that was manufactured before 1968, chances are it does not have a serial number on it. I own more than one.
And that's the way it should be. The government should not know who has the guns and what they are. That's none of the government's business. That's the whole idea. But the way this society has been trained and conditioned is to believe that the government should know where all the guns are.
Yeah.
So
I'll get a couple comments in here real quick. Robert says, frequent commenter, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting, Robert. It's already illegal to make your own guns in New Germany. I mean New Jersey. I might steal that one from you, Robert. Matt Wilson says, just wanted to call out that Facebook lets you create a Facebook birthday fundraiser for the Second Amendment Foundation. I have one running for my birthday today. Great job, Matt. Thank you. And everybody who's on the Facebook side, if you want to contribute, head over to Matt's Facebook page and kick it a little bit. I would personally appreciate it. Thank you. Warsaw Patriots over the YouTube side says serial numbers do not do a damn thing against crime and criminal offenders. Now I want to, and then one more here, and then I'm going to go off on a side tangent. Michael Schmidt on the YouTube side says, Dan, the term is indoctrinated.
Yes, thank you for correcting me on that. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes.
What I see is what they're trying to do is between now you can't make your own gun, your own firearms, and with the California's limited, you can only buy certain firearms, and that amount is dwindling of the amount of approved firearms. What they want to make it is so that eventually you can buy one handgun and one rifle. The handgun is going to wind up being a handgun by Cabot Arms, and you're going to have to mortgage your home and your business to own the damn thing. And because there's one model available, they're going to say they're not infringing on your Second Amendment rights.
Well, yeah, and you know, who was the guy? I can't remember his name. He was publicizing the blueprints for the printer, the printed gun blueprints. I forget his name, and he caught hell because he was somehow creating the ghost gun, thing. But what he was doing is he was just helping people be able to do what they're supposed to do. You should have a gun in your home. You should be able to protect yourself, and it's nobody's damn business what kind of gun it is, where it is, or anything. So the whole idea of serial numbers is just absolutely infuriating to me, and the idea that people don't get it is even worse. And the anti-gun crowd and our Democrat politicians, they understand this, so they keep pushing that term as if serial numbers are normal.
Yeah, you're right. If serial numbers are normal in the public's mind, then yeah, you're right. Then it makes the registry so much easier. Exactly. Robert says the word you were searching for was defense distributed. Roderick says guns made before 68 probably have a serial number, but there's no paper trail at all for them. Roderick, I've got a pre-1968 Savage Model 304A 3030 bolt action that doesn't have a serial number at all. I don't even know what year it was made. I just know it's pre-68.
Yeah, and the manufacturers would some manufacturers would put serial numbers on guns, but that was primarily just for their own use, to different models and different things like that. It was never for the intent of them to be traced by the federal government. So that's why this is so infuriating.
Who I wish we had on with us is Rob Campbell of Eye on the Target Radio. That guy is a walking encyclopedia of knowledge and would know when they started putting serial numbers on what firearms. Robert says next they'll want serial numbers on our arms just so they can track us. Gee, have we've seen that somewhere before, like Germany. Yeah.
Yes. And Rob is a wealth of knowledge for everything from firearms to welding. I actually asked him some tips on welding, and he's a great guy, and he knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And the other thing is, since this is the San Diego is a city ordinance, last I heard, and I'm certainly not a lawyer, I'm not a legal expert by any means, city ordinances, it's not a felony. You can't be put in prison for it. I mean, you're not gonna. They can't lock you up for years for it. So, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody if you're in the audience and you're a lawyer, or if you think I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. Last I knew, city ordinances only the most you can get is a class 1 misdemeanor out of it. That's my.
Well, and here's the thing, Rob. In this article, San Diego 7 looks like ABC or NBC. According to San Diego Police Department report, gang-related violent crime increased in the first 6 months of 2021, including a 129% jump in gang-related shooting when compared to the same period last year. Okay, well, are they ghost guns? It has nothing to do with the gun. These are guns that are probably stolen. What did the bad guys, did the gang members go get their background check and fingerprints? Did they ever do that stuff? No, they don't do it anyway. It doesn't matter. None of this stuff matters because serial numbers, and it's useless. These ghost guns are created. The term ghost guns and the serial numbers and the need for serial numbers is created for us, the good guys. We are the opposition to the gun grabbers. We're the conservatives. We're the patriots. We're the traditional Americans who want to live by the Constitution and Bill of Rights. We are the ones that they fear. We're the ones that they're more interested in knowing where our guns are and all that stuff. So these serial numbers and tracking and registrations are not for the bad guys. It's for us.
Yeah. And the other thing that comes to mind is, and this has been on a show a while ago, and with my brain scramble, it just occurred to me. They may be referring to ghost guns is also if you steal a Glock and you file off the serial number off the frame, they may be referring to that as a ghost gun as well. Even though it's a manufactured firearm, you didn't build it yourself, you just filed off the serial number, that now is a ghost gun as well.
Right. Anything that they can't trace is considered, in their terms, a ghost gun. And I don't even use these terms. I only use them when talking about the term itself, ghost gun. I would never use these terms in conversation, and I think most gun owners would agree with me that the anti-gun left creates the terms weapons of war, ghost guns, guns, assault weapon, all this stuff, and they want these terms to infiltrate our language. They want these terms to become part of our public forum, part of the way we speak. If we continue to use these terms, we're playing right into their game. So, I'll only use these terms when we're specifically addressing the term itself, and never ever use it in actual conversation. Well, so we can't let them win on that narrative game.
I'll even go so far as to when we are discussing magazine limits, I'll specifically term what they call large capacity. I'll call them standard capacity magazines. Yeah. A 30-round magazine is a standard capacity magazine. The 10-round magazine is a neutered magazine, is what that is. We're getting a lot of comments. I want to jump to a few of them here real quick. Warsaw Patriot says, if you think serial numbers are a problem, think of the billions. I don't know about that. There are certainly millions of 7473 questionnaire background checks we all had to do. And then Robert says, most of the guns used in crimes are stolen, so serial numbers only get back to the legal purchasers, not the criminals. Absolutely. Warsaw Patriot also says, it's a federal offense when filing off serial numbers. It's also a federal offense to steal firearms. They don't care.
Right.
They're not doing these crimes thinking
and kill somebody. Caught. And it's also a crime to kill people.
Yeah.
But do they care? Do they care about that? And here's another thing. They would love to be able to stamp ammo as well, so they can track things and stuff. And just a little quick story. I was in the department store with my wife, and she was shopping, and I looked down and I saw a little .22 cartridge on the floor, or a casing rather, on the floor. and empty casing. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. You don't usually see that in the department store. But I grabbed it, picked it up, put it in my pocket, because I knew the freak out that would happen if somebody other than me saw that empty casing on the floor. It was just a 22, but you can imagine how a lot of people would have
run across it. Yeah.
Oh my God. The store would have been shut down. It would have been an absolute fiasco. Yeah. So I just quietly picked it up and put it in my pocket, and nobody knew the difference. But that's the point I'm trying to make, is that people, the media and the anti-gunners and the gun grabbers, have got people so freaked out over this stuff, and they're so uneducated, and they keep them away from any information that will quell their fear. They want them to be scared, which brings me back to all these terms again. I'm going to talk a lot about these terms in Dallas, Texas, Paul, by the way, if anybody's going to be going to the big AMCON event, talking about ghost guns and assault weapon and all the scary terminology that they create. What's the purpose for it, and how do we counteract it? Like you made a great point. By counteracting it, we can come up with our own terms, our own logical terms for normal people.
Yeah. Robert wants to know, why don't criminals just follow the law? I mean, and he also thought when you were going to just now, he said when you were talking about picking up that 22, if that was a hollow point, dude, you'd be a felon in New Jersey.
Yeah, it was just it was an empty casing, but right, yeah. New Jersey. I spent a lot of time in Jersey, and I have a lot of good friends in Jersey. I just I don't like even driving through now.
No, Jersey is where civil rights go to die. I mean, it's scary. And I wonder that this is kind of where I was going anyway. John kind of helps lead it there. This is, I think, a lot of why it goes that way. If it bleeds, it leads, John says, from the mainstream media. And I think it's sexy for the media to say things like, I mean, it gets viewers when they can say things like ghost guns, assault weapons. I think that sexes their news up, and brings viewers, readers, listeners in.
Well, plus we're very motivated. Human beings are motivated primarily by fear. Fear is the greatest motivator. And when you have a lack of information, you're more likely to be fearful of the thing. So by keeping people, ignorant guns, and inputting as much scary stuff like we're talking about, ghost guns and weapons of war and all this stuff, it really heightens the fear and makes them more easier to manipulate. But the lack of knowledge, the lack of information leads to more fear, and they know the tricks. They know how to do it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Warsaw Patriot has a couple in here I want to get up. People also don't know people use 22 blanks to install plastic on hard concrete walls with nails when redoing rooms and many appliances.
I've used those.
It's used a lot in roofing as well. And people are just...
Yeah, I actually have one of those. I have one of those 22 nailers.
Yeah.
Yeah, for concrete.
Absolutely. Let's we're about 10 minutes left here. I do want to take a few minutes. I want to first of all promote not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that. We've got Gun Rights Policy Conference coming up. If you're watching us right now either on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel for Second Amendment Foundation. This same place, 1 week from this weekend, is going to be Gun Rights Policy Conference. Now, every year, the who's who of Second Amendment movers and shakers, we'll say, get together and put on the Gun Rights Policy Conference. This is where the people that are actually making things happen tell you how they're making things happen. And it's something I look forward to every year, and that's coming up not this weekend, but next weekend. So that's going to be the 25th and 26th of September. So I would encourage everybody to tune into that. And the weekend after that, the 1st and 2nd of October, Dan, you and I are going to be down in Dallas, and we're going to be at AmCon. That's the Second Amendment Media Conference. That's going to be in person. We'll also be streaming it here on both the Facebook and the YouTube channels. But that's going to be an in-person conference where we try to make all the Second Amendment media get together, and we share best practices, and we try to learn how to make our media better and more effective.
Yeah, really looking forward to that event. We get to see all our friends and hang out and, have a good time. And it's also really informative, educational, because everybody within the Second Amendment community, so to speak, for lack of anything better to say, call it, everybody comes together with their own special area of expertise. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really fascinating because we all get to learn. And then we can go back out into the public, into the media, like we do every day, every week, and we can share more information. So it makes us all more valuable to the fight for gun rights, just by learning from our friends. And it's a great group. Fantastic time.
This is the and I'm forgetting. I think this is the 5th. It could be. It's either 4 or 5, but I think this is AmCon. What was that? This is number 5. This is Susan's.
I heard
in the background. This is AmCon number 5, and I've got to say, I'm in the position I'm in right now, almost in a very large part because of AmCon. If AmCon would not have happened, there's a good chance I wouldn't be in the position I'm at with SAF. So it does more than just. I mean, yes, we all get our media better, but it does other things. The networking that comes out of it is just outrageous.
And if people aren't, if people, people can support SAF too, and that's another thing. You always want to support your national gun rights organizations, because they're the ones that are in court fighting for our rights and putting on these shows, to educate and stuff. So it's always good to support.
Yeah. Well, there's SAF. Yeah, they're paying to get this show out to you. SAF pays for that. They're also, they are the single most successful group in suing to get your gun rights back. Over the past 30 years, there's been nobody more successful than the SAF, and we've got, as of last count, we had over 30 lawsuits nationwide, and I haven't kept close enough track, but last time I talked to Alan, it was over 30 with more to come. And there have been some filed since then and some resolved, so I don't have an accurate count as of today. But that is part of the reason I think I feel so strongly that people should support SAF is, when I very first got into podcasting, I thought we were going to be able to elect our gun rights back. I thought that we could, through podcasting, we could convince enough people to go turn out the vote. We'd get the votes. We'd vote the anti-gunners out of office, and we'd vote our gun rights back in. Well, that never did happen, and I'm fairly convinced, especially with what happened yesterday in California, it probably never will. Where we are going to get our gun rights back is we're going to sue their pants off, because the Second Amendment does say shall not be infringed. and we're going to sue.
That's
and
right.
get back.
That's right.
So, all right. Well, as usually happens, man, we burned up our time. We're at about 25 after. Anything else we should be talking about today in our last few minutes?
Well, like I said, just support your state organizations, support your national organizations, and just it's a great unity. I tell you what, I've been involved in a lot of groups. I've been in the music industry, I've been in the real estate industry, and I've never really experienced such unity among people that I have as I have within the Second Amendment gun rights community. It's just a fantastic group of people. So get involved.
Amen. Amen. All right. Well, I think we are going to go ahead and set this one aside here. And then come join me again tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time. Tomorrow is, and I always, Mike, I always screw his last name up really bad, too. I can't even, my brain won't even put the word in the right order. I'm sorry.
Is that Mike P. you're talking about?
Yeah, Mike.
Is it Piawarski?
Yes. Piawarski. Yeah.
Piawarski.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, we're butchering your name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike Piawarski. There we go. From Arms Room Radio. I've had a stroke, folks. My tongue sometimes doesn't keep up with the brain. Mike Piawarski from Arms Room Radio is going to be my guest commentator tomorrow. And Dan, you're going to be back next Wednesday?
Sounds great. I'll be here.
All right. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 5.